introduce our distinguished guests. Our chief guest today is Shanthi Priya ji. I will just say, they typically start saying this person needs no introduction. So I once said that to somebody and they said, of course not, everybody needs an introduction. Don't be called Hanuman, Pavan Putra Hanuman. So everybody needs an introduction. So Shanthi Priya ji is an acclaimed actress whose career has spanned multiple Indian film industries. With memorable performances across Hindi, Telugu and Tamil cinema, she has won the admiration of audiences for decades through her grace, versatility and enduring screen presence. We are honoured to have you today for the official launch of Shadow of the Serpent 4 this evening. Welcome on stage, ma'am. We similarly have someone who needs no introduction, as they always say, Sandip Soparrkar. He is one of India's most celebrated dancers, choreographers, actors and cultural ambassadors. His remarkable career has taken Indian dance and culture to audiences across the world, and through his work as an artist and mentor, he has inspired countless performers over the years. We are delighted to welcome you this evening. We had one more guest who couldn't make it, Sonali Pednekar. Unfortunately, she can't join us today, but she sent her warm regards to us. And finally, as they say, last but not the least, our author of the evening, Aarti Chavan, who has spent over 2 decades building a global career in technology before turning to a lifelong dream of writing fiction. Inspired by 6 years of historical research and a passion for bringing forgotten chapters of Indian history to modern readers, Shadow of the Serpent Fort is a debut novel and a first book in the series Forgotten Kingdoms of India. Please join me in welcoming Aarti Chavan.
फोटो नीचे
Namaskar and a very warm welcome to all of you. Good evening everyone. First of all, thank you so much for coming in these rains. The weather is terrible, as people mentioned. It is truly an honor to see family, friends, readers, historians who are supposed to be here and lovers of literature and storytelling gathered here this evening. Thank you all for making this such a special occasion. So people often ask me how long it took to write this book. The answer is 6 years. But in truth, this story has been with me since I was a child. If you ask anyone in my family, they'll tell you that I always had a book in my hand. I was a voracious reader and I inherited that love of reading from my father's side of the family. When my mother first went to my father's house after they were married, she found hundreds of books and my uncles were always reading in every corner possible. I definitely inherited that gene. Someone once said, books don't just tell us stories, but they quietly shape the people we become. And looking back, I think that's been true throughout my life. Books shape the way I think, the way I see the world, and ultimately led me to write this book. So perhaps the better question is, how many versions did you write? And to tell you the truth, the first draft of this novel, about four and a half years back, was nearly 500 pages and 77 chapters. And the version you're seeing today is about 300 pages and 54 chapters. Somewhere along the way, I realized that writing a novel isn't really about writing, it's about rewriting, cutting, rewriting again and again. And we have a couple of authors here who would I'm sure be agreeing with that. So although I spent more than 2 decades writing business plans and strategy documents in the corporate world, I had never written fiction. And I quickly discovered that writing a novel needs a completely different set of muscles. That journey truly began during the COVID pandemic, and like many people, I suddenly found myself with extra time. At the time, my children had become fascinated with Greek mythology, and it made me wonder, why don't more people know equally extraordinary stories from India? I grew up listening to those stories that my father told me, and I grew up reading Marathi, Hindi, and English literature. But when I searched for books that I could introduce my children to ancient India in the same exciting, page-turning way, I struggled to find what I was looking for. I found many wonderful retellings of mythology and the characters from Ramayana and Mahabharata. But I wanted something different. I wanted an epic historical adventure filled with new, unforgettable characters, political intrigue, suspense, and a story that would keep readers turning pages late into the night. A story rooted in real history but driven by imagination. And because I've loved eerie thrillers, I added one more ingredient, a haunted fort. So Shadow of the Serpent Fort became this blend of adventure, mystery, history, and the supernatural. So in many ways, I simply wrote the book I wished my children had when they were growing up. Once I committed to that idea, I began the research. I read Arthashastra, where Chanakya writes not only about kings and wars, but he also writes about spies, governance, economics, and human nature. I read historians like D.D. Koshambi, who encouraged us to look beyond emperors and ask how ordinary people actually lived in ancient India. I explored Greek accounts such as Megasthenes Indica, who wrote how India how he found India from outside over 2000 years ago. Somewhere in the middle of that research, I fell in love with one particular year, 324 BCE, and you can see that on the title. And BC is before Common Era. They don't call BC anymore, which was before Christ, so now it's before Common Era. It was an extraordinary moment in history because Alexander the Great had just left India, but he had still left some of his Greek commanders behind, who ruled the northwestern part of the Indian subcontinent. And Chandragupta Maurya has still not built his empire. Between those two famous names must have existed dozens of small kingdoms that history never recorded.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Congratulations, Aarti, for the debut novel. I can feel our debut is because when we are the first people to even come on screen or do anything first time, it's very nervous. So I can go through that, what you're going through that. So yeah, coming to the novel, when Aarti has asked me that just go through the thing and read, a small synopsis, like I was discussing with my sons this, I showed them this, and they immediately say, I don't know whether you're going or not, please get us the book. So this is what the book was inspiring them, and then I, very frankly, I'm not a book reader, but I always love to listen whatever others tell me, the stories, because I'm a very good listener. So I told, okay, tell me brief about the story. Mom, you will not understand. You get the book page by page, line by line, I'll read and tell you, I will explain it. I said, okay, done, I'll do that. So yes, the power of your storyline and connecting with this generation where there's a lot of entertainment digitally and in movies, but book is always very important for us to have, because for reference and for any other reason, we need to have reading and books specially. And I would not like to take too much of time, and I cannot talk so much. I think I'll give it to Sandip. And all the best, Aarti, once again, and many more sequels. Thank you.
Everyone, congratulations for this book. Well, I think it's very nice to see upcoming authors, first time debut like this, because I think we all need to read different types of stories. Of course, we've had so many authors who have been doing brilliant work and they've been writing some amazing books. I'm very fond of reading books, and especially when it's to do with mythology. And when I see new authors coming up, I think it speaks volumes about how people want to come up with their stories, say what they're saying. I also believe that this very beautiful shloka in Sanskrit which says, Nitya Sahitya Nitya Kala Vihin Sakshat Pashu Kuch Vishanahin, which means a person without literature, dance, music, drama, any of these vidhai, we are like animals. And we don't want to be like animals. We should be more knowledgeable, and through these various art forms, be it, like I said, music, singing, dancing, literature, we can enhance ourselves and not be like animals. So thank you so much for not making us like animals with these lovely books that you have come up with. When she sent me the synopsis and I read that, I thought it was brilliantly put together. And let me tell you, not as a choreographer, but even as a person, I believe if you make a Netflix series out of it, it will do really well. And I think even a musical dance drama would be good. So you can give it a thought once a couple of months are over as to how you can take the book furthermore ahead. And like I said, a series, and maybe because I'm into dancing, that can also look interesting. I saw some images of what she has made her characters look like, and I think they look hot and sexy, and they will make great characters on television or for these series and even a film maybe. So now that you're in Mumbai, spend some more time here, meet some good production houses, and we never know, a book comes up as a movie, which I think reaches further more audiences. And I do understand that the book reading now has not just with a book, but even through e-books and voice books, and there's so many more that's come up, and I wish you good luck. And I hope it comes in all the platforms and we get to see more of your book. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yes, I cannot choose one because we always like to experience a lot of characters. But given a chance, then I would like to go with Rani Lakshmibai and Mother Teresa and Princess Diana.
Now over to you, sir. I'll ask alternate. So, if you were to choreograph something from ancient kingdoms, would it be a royal romance or an epic battlefield?
Well, मेरा ये मानना है कला जो है वो जोड़ती है तोड़ती नहीं है. So I would go for anything to do with romance and never for a battlefield.
Now, Shanthi Priya ma'am, if someone offered you a role in a historical epic or a contemporary drama, which one would you choose and why?
Historical. Yes. I love characters of historical, and then I like to dress up beautifully. So I would like to go with historical.
No, definitely they dress up very well. We don't dress up even half as much as they used to.
Especially being a South Indian.
Sandip sir, what ancient Indian art form or any ancient art form fascinates you the most?
Oh, recently I was in Orissa and I saw this paintings of Navgunjara. I think they were absolutely brilliant. It is this animal, they say Vishnu Rupa, one of Vishnu Rups, he took this form of Navgunjara, 9 different animals and birds. And to show that as human beings, if we inculcate these qualities of these 9 different birds and animals, is when we become a wholesome human being. So I think Navgunjara was just brilliant.
That's amazing. I was not aware of this art form.
Oh, it's lovely. It is, if I get it right, the head is like a rooster, neck is like a peacock, hump like a bull, body of a lion, the left of leg like an elephant, back one like a tiger, the other side like a deer, and the tail like a serpent. So it kind of tells you different parts and the good qualities of each of these birds and animals, and therefore you become a wholesome human being. On the right hand, I being a Vishnu Rupa, he was holding a lotus. So if you have embody all of this, hopefully you become a good human being.
Oh, that's amazing. Wow. Would you rather visit an ancient palace or a haunted fort?
Palace. I'm sorry, I know you're not. But yeah.
Palaces can have ghosts too. Over to you, sir. So, if you could perform before one historical ruler, who would it be?
Oh, definitely Queen Victoria, because I do ballroom dancing and I know that she was one of them who was extremely fond of ballroom dancing, and she's the one who popularized it even more. So if I get to perform in front of her, nothing like it. Maybe there.
Would you rather travel back to ancient India or 100 years into the future?
Back. Ancient, Mahabharata. I would like to go to Mahabharata and see them personally, because we have always imagined Krishna will look like this and that. So yes, go back.
That definitely looks like a movie in the making or something.
Names of these characters that you have in the book. And when you're planning a story, how do you kind of take it from one to the other to the other to the other?
So, I've been in strategy and tech world for a long time, preparing presentation for executives, for launching big products. So I really had the same approach. I created a chapter outline. So I had a plot in mind. I knew it was going to be about a young soldier. There needs to be mystery in the fort, and he has to win against the villain. But how do then we parse that out? So I actually had a chapter outline where I said, this chapter, this is going to happen, this chapter, this is going to happen. And then I started expanding on it, which is what my approach has been in all my corporate world experience as well. And apparently I also did a writing course, and that helped me as well. In terms of names, I have to say that actually that was very difficult, because names in that era were also short and also long. The thing is, with a modern novel, people to read in today's world, you need it to be readable. So I couldn't use that names that were very long. So I had to find names that were there that time, that could have been, because I wanted to make sure it was era appropriate, but also pronounceable and not difficult to read, because this book is meant for a global audience. So Malhar was a name that could exist now and then. There are other characters like Rudra Varma, and Rudra is a name that can exist now. So what I did do is, their name is Malhar Ketu, Rudra Varma, Satyamitra, Lalita Gauri, but when I refer to them in novel, I kept it Lalita Malhar. I only mentioned it once, because you don't want it to be difficult to read, because I've realized that people, the attention spans are shorter, and it's just easier when names are. But I had to research a lot on whether these names, easy names, were possible in that era or not, because people were like, no, this is not the right name. It couldn't have existed. I said, no, Ishan is a name that has existed, or Malhar, since time immemorial. Actually, if you see Sanskrit research, the research I did, they were short names. Like my son's name Aditya, my older son, that has existed, even though it's a short name. So, but it did take me a long time. That was one of the most difficult things.
आपने का डेब्यू है फर्स्ट नॉवल राइटिंग, एंड बहुत अच्छा लगा ये एंड बुक पढ़ने को थोड़ा सा सिनॉप्सिस बताया है उन्होंने, बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है, और ये जनरेशन के साथ जोड़ने के लिए बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है बुक पढ़ने के लिए, एंड पूरा पढ़ने के बाद मैं डेफिनेटली आई
संदीप सर, आपसे भी जानना चाहेंगे, आपने उनको सपोर्ट करने के आप दिया, तो वो हमने सब भी पढ़ा है, क्या कहना चाहेंगे, कैसी बुक है?
पहले हिस्ट्री को मैनेज साथ मिक्स करके प्रेजेंट किया, आरती जी ने बहुत बताई। मेरा तो ये मानना है इस बुक के साथ कुछ ना कुछ नेटवर्क की सीरीज बननी चाहिए, या फिर इसके डांस ड्रामा बनने चाहिए, एंड आई होप ऐसा हो, बिकॉज जब किताबों को स्क्रीन पर लाया जाता है तो और निकल के बाहर आती है। ऑलरेडी इतनी सुंदर है, कैरेक्टर्स में सेक्सियत और है, इसका पक्का कुछ ना कुछ बने तो और अच्छा लगेगा। प्लस आप और सीरीज बनने वाली है, पहली किताब है, इसकी और सीरीज बनेगी। सो अगर आप फॉलो करते हैं पढ़ना इस तरह से, तो आप करते रहिए, बिकॉज दिस बुक इज गुड लॉन्ग।
और सर जैसे देखा कि आप कई सारे बुक को एडॉप्ट करके उस पर एक थिएटर ड्रामा भी बनाते हैं, तो क्या हम आने वाले टाइम पे ये चीज़ें देख पाएंगे आदि मैन के साथ?
Well, definitely, Aarti, your book definitely is worth a dance drama, and with a lot of music to it, all that, it will be more interesting. I think best part is जिस तरह से characters को present किया है, उनमें इतनी जान डाली है, इतने emotions डाले हैं, जब वो मंच पे मिलेगा तो और भी अच्छा दिख सकता है। I wish all the very best. ऐसी किताब लिखना था, मैं आप लोगों का मिश्रण करें अपनी हिस्ट्री को साथ साथ इमेजिनेशन के साथ में, एंड bit of thriller है, horror है, like a wholesome entertainment है. So I'm sure you will love this book and
आज आपसे जानना चाहेंगे कि कैसे बुक का थॉट आया है आपके माइंड में, किस तरह से इसकी शुरुआत हुई?
our whole family is entertainment में है, मतलब कंज्यूम करते हैं, देखते हैं, but I was always a reader. So when my kids started reading in US, they were reading Greek mythology, तो मुझे बहुत disappointment हुई। इंडिया में भी बहुत अच्छी स्टोरीज है, मैंने पढ़ी थी, लेकिन वो स्टोरीज है ना, दे आर ऑल इन रामायण महाभारत एंड दे वंडरफुल, and or you know our mythological gods, उनकी retellings. I wanted new characters, completely new characters, but still you know history में rooted, जिसकी background real इतिहास हो। तो इसलिए मैंने लिखना शुरू कर दिया कोविड में, और उनके लिए लिखना शुरू कर दिया, एंड in 8 months it became this big book. और फिर मेरे कुछ फ्रेंड्स हैं जो पब्लिशिंग में यूएस में, उन्होंने वो पढ़ी है, they said it has to be published. This is a story that must become a book that other people should read. तो ऐसे शुरुआत हुई उसकी।
So अभी आने वाले टाइम पे कहाँ हम इस बुक को देख पाएंगे, कहाँ अवेलेबल होगा, जिससे इजीली पाएंगे?
हाँ, तो the book is available all over India in many big bookstores, Delhi, Chennai, Mumbai, Hyderabad, Bangalore also, and also Amazon पे है इंडिया में, Amazon US पे भी है, and many other countries, but other countries we haven't started yet.
नाम को लेके क्या थॉट है कि नाम बन पा रहे हैं सरपेंट को, व्हाट इज द लॉजिक?
Book has a lot of elements. One of the elements is the Serpent fold, which is a character in itself, and it plays such a big role because 2/3 of the story takes place in that fold. और उसके कुछ तो है उधर, right? So I wanted to make people to feel that right away, because आजकल attention span इतना कम है that people look at the book cover for 3 seconds happen. So in 3 seconds, yes, you have to grab their attention. तो how do you grab their attention? That they have to also know कि किस बारे में है, तो उससे सोच के वो कवर लिखा। It has to be appropriate to the story, but also grab the attention. So that was the thing. But the whole story is not about just the ghosts and all. The story is also about how he wins the battle with cunning, strategy against the Greek villain. So that is the later part of the story. So, but you know, it's hard to put all of it on the book cover. तो बुक कवर उस तरीके से पहले तो अटेंशन ग्रैब करना चाहिए लोगों का।
तो कुछ ऑडियंस को या रीडर्स को कुछ कहना चाहिए कि क्यों बुक को पढ़े, क्यों खरीदे बुक?
या सो आई थिंक लाइक आई सेड, ये बुक अलग है। मैंने जब लिखना शुरू किया ना, हैव सम फ्रेंड्स इन द मीडिया, वो बोले हाँ आजकल बहुत बुक्स है हिस्टोरिक फिक्शन में इंडिया में। आई सेड यस है, बट एक तो नए कैरेक्टर्स बहुत कम है। They're all mythology characters that we already know, and they're great books. There's no doubt they're great books. But this is a book that is, you can think of it as, I don't even know. I don't know. Someone said something, but I don't want to mention like a name that's famous, but say something like a Robin Hood or a Lord of the Rings, but based in India. So it's that kind of a story, and there are no stories like that I can see right now. I think most stories don't have new characters. So this is the first time you will see an epic adventure with brand new characters that are still historically accurate. I have really gone to the details कि एकदम history में accurate, कुछ wrong नहीं करे. Like I don't want people to find a fault in it.
I would also like to add that some books ऐसी होती हैं जहाँ पे रोमांस होता है, कहीं पे आपको हॉरर मिलता है, थ्रिलर मिलता है, अलग-अलग जॉनर्स मिलते हैं। I थिंक इस बुक में खासियत ये बात है कि इसमें आपको ये सब कुछ फुल एंटरटेनमेंट जैसे होता है वो आपको मिलेगा एंड इट विल टेक यू थ्रू वेरियस एराज ऑफ द हिस्ट्री एंड सम स्टोरीज टू इट. तो आपको सारे जो एसेंस मिलते हैं एज अ स्टोरी, एंजॉय द स्टोरी लाइन, यू विल फाइंड दिस बुक.
मैम आप कुछ ऐड करना चाहिए ऑडियंस
मैं ये ऐड करना चाहती हूँ एक्चुअली हिस्टोरिकल अलेक्जेंडर का इस ज़माने का टाइम का है, बट उसमें भी एक इंडियन कैरेक्टर उन्होंने मलार करके इंट्रोड्यूस किया है, जो उनके बारे में सब बताना कैसा वो हैंडल कर रहे हैं ये कैरेक्टर. सो श्योरली देखा जाए बिकॉज जो भी बुक्स हिस्टोरिकल आता है हम लोग को सब पता है अलेक्जेंडर हो, XYZ हो, ये, बट ये जब इंडियन के साथ उस टाइम का पीरियड में जा रहा था ज़रूर पढ़ना चाहिए.
थैंक यू सो मच.
Thank you.
मैम और कुछ कहना चाहता है आप अपने
नहीं, आई थिंक आई लव व्हाट सर सेड, क्योंकि सारे उसमें जो नौ रस बोलते हैं ना, एंटरटेनमेंट के 9 रस होते हैं, वो सब है उसमें. सो थैंक यू फॉर ब्रिंगिंग दैट पॉइंट.
थैंक यू सो मच.
Thank you so much.